Welcome back to another Dust Bootcamp. How's it going, folks? Tonight we have Gregor and Alicia joining us.
Hello.
Hello.
And Nathan and Caitlin have bombarded us as well. Caitlin is Dust Patriot helping out in Fayetteville, Georgia at Discover Games. And he just wants to nerd out with us. Caitlin also plays, and she ran away.
So he'll be in now. Yes, yeah, we have a new community at Discover Games. A lot of new Dust players, and a lot of players that had Dust from many years back and are just now coming back to check out the awesomeness that it is now with the revised current rule set and all the new great stuff coming up. So a lot of really excited players there.
Awesome.
Yeah, really cool.
All right, so it's actually been like a month or more since we recorded a show.
But it's okay. People don't know yet because it's also been a month or so that we have published a podcast. So we're good.
Ouch! Yeah,
No, it's true. It's just that life got in the way. We had some pretty insane schedules lately.
Yes, but it hasn't been a month since we've seen each other.
No,
so that's more fun.
It hasn't, and that is true.
Yeah, not.
We did have Adepticon, which was amazing.
It was beyond amazing. It's the best show of the year.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
It is definitely the highlight of my year. Actually, up until Adepticon, I was starting to feel kind of wore down with all the podcast stuff. I mean, starting a new job also. That did help reinvigorate everything. Even though I spent 4 or 5 days there working my tail off, helping with the Relic Blade booth. And just talking to people and giving demos and popping around and talking to other people. It's kind of funny how it can be so refreshing still.
It is. It's really exhilarating. You're there for 4 days. You don't sleep well. You don't eat properly, and still you have this energy at the end of the convention. And it's honestly, I feel that after every convention, but this one is really the miniature gaming convention that you need to attend, because that's only miniatures. And the guys from Adepticon really do their best for us to feel welcome. And as an exhibitor, it was really, really, really good. So yeah, I really love this convention. We had a Dust tournament there that was really fantastic. And
it's not a convention, it's a gigantic slumber party.
It's exactly that.
Because nobody sleeps, and there's something going on at any hour of the day. You just walk outside your room, if you're lucky enough to get a room at the Renaissance, and there's people painting, and it's 2:00 in the morning, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Fort Walpole's always awesome for painting, and there's people playing games all over the place. The nice part is like every place we went to outside of there in the immediate area had something, for Adepticon.
Yes.
We a bunch of us went to Kuma's, which is a burger place there, and they actually had a burger that was dedicated. It was the Adepticon special burger. It was only during the dates that Adepticon was running.
Yeah.
And that burger was amazing. All their burgers were amazing, but it was that one was like perfect. We walked away from there stuffed. It was everywhere we went, walked away stuffed.
Yeah.
Which was good. Maybe not for my waistline, but
Schaumburg is a town where you need to have a drive, but as long as you have a Lyft, a Uber, or a car, you have some really nice places to eat in the evening. So it's really nice.
Yeah, and actually, the ironic part is, I'm the person who gets to fly Delta because I now work for Delta for little to nothing, and I'm the only person that ended up driving.
That's your punishment for being privileged.
Right? As I'm driving the 10-hour drive up there, I'm like, there's a huge amount of irony in the fact that I'm the one driving. Robin and Tim are like, yeah, we're here, we're chilling. Tim's like, hey, I'm at the hotel. I want to get in the room. Are you here yet? How far out are you?
Fun stuff. We had 2 of our demo guys that were flying Delta.
Good. I like hearing it. And if you are anywhere, you are choosing a ride share to use, it should be Lyft, and you should hook up your SkyMiles account to it. Yes, yeah, I'm totally pimping out my own company.
I did that, and it's fantastic. I'm pimping out your company.
It helps me.
Yes.
Even if they don't know that I was the one who did it, it still helps me.
It's okay. It's still good.
Yes. Actually, you get SkyMiles for for your rides.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool deal.
It is.
Yes. Nathan's over there like, I can't believe you're selling out like this.
No, Delta, it's so cool.
Delta, technically, since Delta pays me, Delta does sponsor this podcast. So,
and it's really nice to be sponsored by local artisanal companies,
All right, so there's that stuff out of the way. We've been talking about the platoons, and we're actually still in the allies, but we should finish up allies tonight.
Yeah.
Greg assures me that they will not take any time. I don't know if I believe him, because I know how we get talking. Actually, we met up an hour ago and we just started recording. So
yeah,
we've already had 6 arguments. So
it's called a pre-briefing.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful moment.
All right. So the first up on the allies platoons, we left off with, we're at the Heavy Commando Paratrooper Platoon. Action Jackson, who I have on my table, and actually at Adepticon, because they're not currently still in circulation, but the Heavy Commando Battle Squad, I ended up with one of them.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there was a listener of the show. He brought me a big box of ally stuff, and he's like, here you go. So thank you, listener, for that. I super appreciate it. I'll put it to good use. And there was a lot of really good stuff. I found the first unit of them. I'm like, oh, sweet. And I went looking, and there was a lot of other good stuff. There wasn't another one. I was like, darn it, I can't run that list yet.
Yet.
I will find another battle squad.
Yeah, we are working on re-releasing the Commandos anyway, especially now that they have integrated the Desert Scorpions, thanks to the results of the worldwide campaign, Endless War, which I invite you to sign up to the newsletter on endlesswar.dustusa.com, because thanks to the results of the games by people, we can influence like that the fluctuations of the game and the universe. Action Jackson, for example, and all these British paratroopers are, well, I shouldn't say paratroopers, but commandos, are actually invading Babylon right now to fight the new threat that is appearing after the shenanigans of the Luftwaffe and the Blutkreuz.
Shenanigans.
Yes. So for this platoon, you're going to need Action Jackson and twice the same unit, the Heavy Commando Battle Squad. So these are the commandos with the huge phaser rifle.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that they had 2 of the big ones, but they only have 1. It's only Action Jackson that has 2 of them.
Exactly, because size matters, but number matters.
He's compensating.
No, absolutely not. You should see the size of his SUV. But anyway, so yeah, this is a platoon that is really straightforward. You play these 3 units, and every commando paratrooper that you play inside the platoon, in or supporting, which is really important, benefits from the rule of airborne. So that means that they cannot be deployed by the edge of the table anymore, but they are dropped anywhere on the table as long as they are in range 2 or further from an objective. So
yeah, it'll be fun to actually have some airborne people.
Say what again?
I said it'll be great to have some airborne people.
And it's actually range 3 or further because they cannot be deployed in range 2. So it is straightforward and it's really, really, really efficient. It's a platoon that is actually really popular. But until then, it was really popular on the paper because people were having difficulties playing that because of the fact that the units and the hero were only British paratroopers. And now that they have switched to Desert Scorpion also, now they can be played inside the faction and they can benefit from the faction bonus.
I'm getting a little excited.
It is really exciting. Yeah, really. In all realism, we were not going to release the British paratroopers before a long time because of the cycles of releases. You know, we release a faction, we need to flesh it out. It takes at least a year and a half. Then you have to switch to another faction for another block and so on. So basically, the British paratrooper wouldn't see the light of day before. Really way too long to mention right now. So that was a good idea also for us to do that because that would allow us to have them playable right away with a faction bonus. So what does that mean? That means that you can play Action Jackson and the Commando Battle Squad as airborne, and then you have to ask yourself, what do I put as support? Because as we mentioned previously, and as it has been mentioned tonight in our pre-briefing, the Allied Armor 3 are not super resilient. They have 1 HP. Yes, they are Armor 3, but these are units of 3 guys, so it's not that great. And they will get wiped out really fast if you don't protect them properly. So it's something that you need to prepare. They don't just drop from the sky and kill stuff. Of course, they're going to do that, but they're not going to be able to do it at round 2 if you don't protect them a little bit. So once again, same strategy. You want as support right now, you want something that will grant them cover. So a good idea for that is right away a heavy mortar, for example. So either because you take a Ranger heavy mortar or because as a Desert Scorpion, you're going to take the mortar truck. So the mortar truck is an artillery also. So it's really plain and simple. You're going to deploy the mortar truck, pop some smoke on 4 squares on the table, wherever you need, basically, considering the ranges. And then you're going to airborne some units in this square of smoke. You're going to take advantage of every terrain that you can find, obviously. A fun stuff to do is to airborne your infantry on the top of a roof. That is always convenient. You benefit from the newly redacted height advantage. That is way easier to use now and way better. So I invite you to check the errata for that. But yeah, it's really a good platoon. You have range, you have firepower. The phaser rifles have a range of 6, 3 dice against infantry, which is not the best, but that's still 9 dice that you can roll against a unit, and that prevents cover. But it's also 3 dice, because you have 3 guys, 3 dice against the vehicle with 3 damages each. So you can really wipe out almost any heavy vehicle with just 1 good airborne roll. So that's pretty convenient. The other thing that you can put in your support is actually the kill squad. So you have the commandos, the commando kill squad, or actually the Desert Scorpion kill squad, that are really, really useful with that. I really like to use the commando kill squad with that because they have scout normally, which is useful but not that great considering the short range of their weapons. And suddenly they trade this scout, because they cannot deploy by the edge of the table, with airborne, and that grants them a range that really fits their firepower, because they have these little phaser guns that shoot a ton of dice like a ton, but with no range.
And suddenly, SMG. Actually, I'm picking one of the guys up right now.
Yeah, and suddenly range becomes irrelevant, and they are really, really useful. So this is a unit that you're going to use against infantry, for example, because 15 dice is no joke. So
now, I guess one of the questions. Did you say, because I'm looking at the platoon advantage of airdrop, and it says every allied heavy commando unit in or supporting the platoon gets the airborne skill.
Yes.
Okay, so it won't be everything in the force.
No, it's just the heavy commandos.
Okay.
So that's 2 units right now, plus Action Jackson.
Right. I wanted to double check because
No, it's really a really restrictive platoon. That means, for example, that Oz 117 will not benefit from it. That means that you cannot do that on USMC heavy engineer squads or these kind of things. It's really specific to the commandos.
Right, which is great. I like it, and you can still take the other stuff as support, the mortar truck and all that. My thought was, when you were mentioning those other vehicles, I was like, wait, but if they're airborne, they have to take a nothing action, and then they have to roll to see if they actually get another action. So I was running things in my head, and then when I double checked airborne, and then looked back at the unit and at the platoon and went, oh wait, okay,
just the commandos. The rest actually, you're going to put the commandos, so obviously the 3 units required, plus any other commando unit that you want in the same platoon. But it's also a platoon that is not that expensive, and that will allow you to take another platoon as support. So instead of loading this platoon with some stuff that will not benefit from it, you will be able to play other units. For example, some medium walkers would be really, really fine with it. You play the medium walker platoon that we already talked about, and that will really help you have the support that you need for this army. We will see also that you can actually try and squeeze the heavy destroyer platoon to make an army that is really in your face with a lot of firepower and a lot of phasers, for example. So it can be really fun.
And in a couple months, when more of the Desert Scorpion stuff is coming out and Hellgate, you can totally mix in the Hellgate Desert Scorpion units.
Yes, and we will actually have platoons for the Desert Scorpions in Hellgate.
Actually, that's what I meant.
Yeah, but it's going to be one of them. I remember we are still playtesting them right now, but one of them is Greg and Easy, and you basically play Greg and Easy and 3 or 4 Dodge trucks. So, for example, you can put the mortar truck in it, and you just drive across the battlefield and do some crazy stuff. They have right now, with the version that we're testing right now, they have a kind of a cover save on a faction logo and a shield during the first round of the game, which really adds to their durability and their ability to place themselves where they want. They just need to make a move in order to get that on the first round. So they don't even need to be in cover. So it's really, really interesting. So yeah, you're going to be able to, the Desert Scorpion is going to be really fleshed out this year, and you're going to be able to do some really fun stuff. But this platoon, specifically for the Commando Paratrooper, is really useful right now because when you drop, basically, if you get lucky on your roll, because it's still a little bit random, but if you get lucky on your roll, you're going to be able to destroy a lot of things round 1 really confidently.
You are definitely going to cause a whole lot of mayhem when you drop in, because you can see that anytime the Luftwaffe just decide to do their own shenanigans.
Yes. So
wrecking trooping, zooming across the battlefield at you while I just forgot their name, but they come dropping in the standard units.
Yeah. So Action Jackson is an officer also, which is something that you should never neglect. So it's always convenient. An officer in an armor 3, so his orders can go anywhere on the table. So you can even airborne Action Jackson at the back of the table just to keep him safe, and starts giving order to just reactivate or reload. So it can be really fun, really fast. So these are good units.
That could be a whole lot of fun. If you took you started dropping the other units in, and whether they actually got their action or not, wouldn't matter too much, as long as you could get Action Jackson to have his action, because then he could, use that to hopefully reactivate one of the units.
Yeah, that gives you another chance.
Yeah. And then they'd have their 2 actions, and they could cause a whole lot of chaos then.
Or then reactivate that unit to counter somebody's counter.
Yeah.
No, it's ally armor 3. If somebody counters them, they're dead.
Yes, they are.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts. That is just the facts of life for armor 3 allies.
Unless they were a Luftwaffe squad that airdropped in and didn't get there.
Yeah.
then that's just a seriously awkward. You're looking at each other like, I can't get my parachute off.
That's the match I want to see now.
You're stepping on it.
They're looking at each other and they're like, hey, can you unhook that right there for me? Sure. Can you get it for me? Yeah, we got you, bro. All right, now we're enemies. I could actually see that game totally happening.
Yeah, it goes right to that point.
I know how my roles are.
For this platoon, I think we've done everything we could do, because really it's self-explanatory. There's nothing much to do about it. You can play a spam of airdrop or of airborne troops, or you can just mix and match. Any support will be good, because the phases are anti-infantry and anti-tank, so it's really not a problem. You can really choose what you want next to it. As I said, the essential is to make sure that they have enough cover on the table, so having some mortars to bring that cover will be a plus, definitely. That's pretty much all.
For sure. All right, so we've got that, and then we have the Allied Heavy Destroyer Platoon.
Yes. So this is a platoon that makes you play the Armor 6 vehicles. So Bulldog, 6 Shooter, these kind of things. You can also play the Dustified kits that are called Wolverine 2 and 3. I'm not going to mention them because, in my personal opinion, they are not as good as anything that we have that is out of the Dustified. They are here for flavor, but they are not here for performance. So, so you have to play a Heavy Ranger Command Squad and then 2 vehicle Armor 6. If you do that, the officer leading the platoon, so the one from the Command Squad, can perform a 6 strike and destroy special action. So you roll a die, and on a faction logo or target, you place a move stimulant on a heavy destroyer walker. So on one of your Armor 6 vehicles. Move stimulants are explained in the book in the command actions for the medic, actually, which is really funny.
Right.
So this one is made by the officer. So that means that if you do that, you're going to lose an action, for example, for your reactivation attempt. But and it's not the medic doing that, because obviously it's on a vehicle, so it's really a special action. And the move stimulant means that you're going to treat your next movement as a march move action. So you're going to spend 1 action, but you're going to move at the speed of your march move.
It's so weird because you're placing it on a walker.
Yes. So it's really basically you have to imagine your officer just barking in the phone that you're going to step on the gas, son, or I'm going to kick your butt, you know. And that's pretty much that. So
no, it's like the old engineer from down Periscope when they say, you know, we need extra power. He opens the gas tank and he's like, hand me that bottle. Just starts pouring it into the engine.
Yes,
I did this in 53. That's what's happening.
It's exactly that.
The officer's like, I need you there now. Engineer on the walker's like, done.
That's exactly that. So again, as always with the platoons for the allies, really straightforward. You gain this boost of movement for your vehicle that still allows you to shoot. So that's really nice. It's something that you can do, for example, at the first round of the game when you need to move a little bit faster to place your walker properly. It's not a reactivation, so that means that you don't activate right away after the order is given. So you're going to enter the table with your heavy walker. You're going to enter the table with your officer. Your officer is going to put the stimulant, and you're going to use it on your next activation.
Right.
So it's something that you have to time properly. But suddenly you gain one more square of movement, which allow you to place yourself properly, which is always important with big vehicles or huge vehicles because they can be cumbersome and sometimes have some issues getting in place where they want. So this time you have your boost of movement for free. It also allows you to gain a little bit of range if you're a little bit short, or if you're afraid that you're going to be short. Normally, you're not with the weapons that you have on a heavy vehicle, but you know, 1 square is 1 square, so or 4 inches. So it's always convenient to have. So
is the move stimulant? It's treat your next move as a march move, right?
Yes.
So it's actually going to be 2 squares for these guys.
Yeah, actually,
they're going to move 4.
They go 2 to 4. Yeah, so it's 2 square. So that double their movement.
Yeah. So you know that can be a whole lot. You know, that's, you know, if you're playing gridless, that's, you know, 8 inches. So
yes, that's also convenient because a typical tactics that you can use with your heavy walkers is when you enter the table, you're going to do a march move because you're going to enter the table probably first on the table because they are resilient enough to endure all the rest. But you're going to move on the table and then pop your smoke. A good way to pop the smoke on a vehicle is to actually pop the 2 first squares on the vehicle and then left and right, and put the other 2 squares in front of the vehicle. And that way, for almost a round and a half, almost 2 rounds, basically, because the smoke ends at the end of the following round, you're going to be protected, either because the first line of smoke blocks line of sight to the second line of smoke, or because you're going to have actually cover, because half of your vehicle is already in cover, whatever the angle that the enemy chooses. So that really helps a little bit with the resilience of these vehicles, and also in popping your units where you need. But sometimes this trick is also tricking you because you have to move out of the smoke on the next round if you want to be able to shoot at something, depriving you of the possibility of, for example, sustaining attacks and these kind of things. And sometimes you have to move way further because you need really to get out of the smoke. And that means that you're going to march move to get out of your own smoke. With the move stimulant, this is a problem that doesn't happen. So you're going to still lose 1 action to move, obviously, but you're going to move way faster. So you can really get out of your own smoke or place your vehicle better in the same smoke. So it's really convenient while still being able to shoot. So it brings options. Having a vehicle that is able to move 4 instead of 2 is always good. So on a big vehicle like that, it's obviously excellent. The investment is quite daunting because the heavy ranger command squad costs a lot of points, and then each walker is going to cost a lot of points also. So it's going to be your main platoon. The support units that you need for this platoon are basically some infantry, because you're going to need to move forward. I would play some planes, but again, you play almost 75 points on the table, so your choice of plane is going to be limited because that means that you're going to have 4 activations and almost nothing else. So it's really something that you have to measure.
Well, your difficulty too is if you already don't have very many infantry in this platoon on your list. Then, so if you're playing an objective capture scenario, something you have to take into account because you have to be able to take that objective.
Yes, and scenarios with multiple objectives, for example, are going to be your doom because you're not going to be able to dominate all the objectives at the same time, and that's going to be a problem. Anything with 3 objectives on the table, and you're going to have to struggle to maintain 2. And if you lose 1 vehicle, you are already losing with the scenario. So it's really something that you really need to measure carefully. And it's a platoon that is easily. You can compensate this weakness with a spam of troops, of cheap troops. For example, something that I like to play with that is a lot of War Dog Recon squads. Because they're cheap, they move super fast with the scout and the charge. So you can really move fast and not care about the consequences. You have enough HP to sustain some minor damage. And if you get in melee, you're going to wreck anything that you touch if it's infantry. So it's convenient. That's a good choice. You can obviously play all the other infantry units that you want. But yeah, that's my main choice when I'm playing this kind of platoon, is to just play a spam of cheap troops. So 5 points for, if I remember correctly, 5 HPs. That's the best price you can get.
Yeah. And I was looking here because I was wondering if you could. And you could, if you really tried, you could actually squeeze in the, so you could do the heavy commandos.
Uh-huh.
You could fit them in, and you'd still actually have a little bit, a couple extra points because you could maintain faction bonus.
Yeah.
So on a 100-point list, you'd still have a couple of points left to squeeze in a generic infantry unit or 2.
Yeah, you can play some full rangers and play 110 points.
So you could bring in the heavy commando and drop that in the enemy's backfield while they've also got your heavy walkers walking in the front field.
Yes.
So at that whole time, they're just going shoot, and shoot is being kind. You have to bring the command squad for the heavy vehicles.
Yeah.
So the officer could perform the seek destroy or seek strike destroy special action and then order that unit to reactivate, getting that 4. So 8 movement in that first turn.
Yeah. If you're lucky on your roll, because you only have 1 roll for your reactivation, and it's only on a faction logo, so it's 2 chances out of 6. But if you're lucky on your roll, yeah, you can really wreak some serious damage on your roll.
So could you potentially put them in a command truck?
Yes.
Get a reroll for that? You should. You should roughly have enough points to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get a reroll on your command action.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some options to combine those last 2 together to just be in kind of an evil list.
It can turn a 1-trick pony into a 2-trick pony. So yeah, it can really be fun. I mean, the whole I put myself on the table, prepare my next round, and actually I anticipate my next round and I do it right now, can be really disturbing for your opponent. Yeah.
I feel like we're playing like this scenario bridge capture.
Uh-huh.
This is the platoon you're going to want because you walk that bulldog in there, you're not kidding. just gonna walk right past the bridge, and you've already won.
It is. You have to be careful with the heavy walkers, especially the armor 6. They are not indestructible. They are really resilient, and they are really scary, which means that your opponent will really focus their firepower on it. And because you move that fast, suddenly you become really a preoccupation for them. So, so it's really something that you have to take into consideration when you choose your army. Because, I mean, if I remember correctly, I just need to take back the cards really quick, but the 6-shooter has salvo, yeah. Typically, moving the 6-shooter really fast like that, as you said, and then really shooting a lot at some infantry units, just to start removing some soldiers can really be interesting. So it's something that it's really a big scarecrow in the middle of the field, and they're going to want to take care of it. So yeah, that's pretty valid. If you're willing to sacrifice 19 points, which I'm totally willing to do, it's something that you should do. And you can even pop smoke at the end.
I feel like your downfall is going to be people with running a swarm list, some sort of like, if they just have a lot of units, because you're not going to have the activations necessarily. You're not going to have all the units to respond to everything that they have. I feel like that could be one difficulty with this, but obviously, like you're talking about trying to fill the points in with recon troops or, some sort of lower cost infantry definitely helps with that. But
swarm lists are always something that you have to think carefully about, because that's the power of NDAC, for example, having this ability to multiply units on the table for very cheap with a lot of firepower. But you have these vehicles that are really meant to to shoot at a lot of targets at the same time. You could shoot at 2 or 3 targets at the same time and still cause significant damage on each target.
So for example, understanding, that, swarms are dangerous. This is allies, which means that if there's a spot that a machine gun can be strapped, there's a machine gun strapped there.
Yes.
So on that 6-shooter, you have 3 machine guns. 2 of them are turret mounted.
Yeah.
And then you have 1 front mounted. So that is, 3 separate infantry units that you're, firing at, or potentially, 3 different of the swarm. If you did, decide to throw that heavy ranger command squad into a command truck, that has 4 machine guns on it. That doesn't count, the devastation that heavy commandos, going with, my list idea, the heavy commandos in the background and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because phasers are fun, weird, odd little VK technology weapons.
Pew pew.
Pew pew. Yes.
But yeah, and don't forget that the recoilless guns, for example, since we're talking about the 6-shooter, is a blast weapon. So that means that on infantry, you're going to roll 1 die per target on square. And because you have salvo, it's going to be 2 dice per target on square. So on a unit of 5, it's going to be 10 dice.
Yeah, but I'm much more of a fan of using those recoilless guns against a vehicle. Yeah. Unless I'm truly facing just a swarm of infantry.
Yeah, against an NDAC, a typical list or Blutkreuz, you're going to have a lot of infantry, so you're going to use it. But indeed, against any vehicle up to armor 3, it's going to be auto death with the dual triple recoilless gun. So
right, and it's 2 shots, just normal up to armor 5.
Yeah.
So
each one causing 4 damages. So that means that you're going to destroy your target if you hit. So it's pretty convenient.
Right. So it is a weigh in balance, but usually I'm going to put the machine guns into the infantry and the recoilless guns at a vehicle because like you said, tough, resilient, not really, but tough, but not not going to be able to live forever.
Yeah. No, you want to damage as many things as possible, even if you don't destroy them, so that your other units can take care of it. So it's okay to two-time an enemy vehicle, by damaging it first and then damaging it again. It's a valid strategy with the allies' vehicle. So, yeah.
You could make it live forever with a mechanic.
True.
True. The mechanic's riding in the command truck, though, right now.
Yeah, got to keep him close.
Well, and that command truck can keep relatively close. He goes, 5 around if he drives flat out.
There's a combination that I like to play right now, which is playing Bazooka Joe in a common vehicle, in a common truck. Because you gain Black Ops, which means that you gain kind of an asset when you need this first roll to count, for your activity, for your initiative.
Right.
And then you're going to be able to use Action Jackson as an officer to reactivate stuff. And because he's in the truck, he's going to have his 2 actions because he's not doing anything. It's not with his little potato launcher that he's going to do anything. So you just use him as an officer in the common vehicle. And then your Heavy Ranger command squad can walk behind the vehicles and just repair them if needed, taking advantage of the smoke that they pop.
You could, that would be a, valid and, nasty strategy to, throw out there.
Yeah. So for this platoon, that's pretty much all you can do, which is quite a bit.
Ooh.
It's the make my day platoon.
Yes.
I just saw the, my favorite ally hero that I don't have yet, and that would be Gregory and Izzy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, wait, there are some extra points. Throw him in there.
But you lose the faction bonus.
Oh, true.
It is that Scorpion, so you have to be careful. But again, as I told you, sometimes you forfeit this bonus because what it brings is so amazing. I mean, putting him in most of the time players will put it in a Devastator, for example, because the fact that you have only 1 die, to shoot at vehicles. But that's the same principle on a Bulldog, and suddenly you have a Bulldog that will hit really reliably any vehicle on the table, and with a potential of 6 damage on a vehicle, that's really nasty. So
find a mercenary that's almost as good. Oh, yes. Such chaos, such magnificent chaos on the battlefield.
Yes, this is really a disruptive platoon. So
sorry.
Tell me.
Just I slid down the allies, and I was overwhelmed with excitement because I got a chef. That was one of the other people in the box was Chef.
Nice. So, I love Chef. It doesn't do anything for me. Ever. I mean, ever. Every time I play Chef. But I play Chef in all my lists now.
I don't know if you can really avoid it. Doom-de-doom-de-doom-de-doom-de.
Exactly that.
Blow torches and kitchen knives.
Yeah, and he's expert with the kitchen knives because he's a good chef.
And he's lucky.
Yeah, this is typically the unit that you play for flavor, absolutely not for performance. But at 5 points, you know what? It's worth it.
I don't know. Getting a flamer, so range 1, and then kitchen knives that you're expert with. I don't know if he's just flavor.
You're armor 1 with 3 HP. So basically, you're going to arrive, you're going to burn some stuff, not destroy them because you don't have enough dice to destroy a whole unit. And then you're going to die.
But if you drop within, or if you show up within enough range, you hit them with the flamethrowers, you close combat them, and you're good.
Oh, you're always within enough range because as a spy, you're going to deploy in range 1 of enemy units. So
exactly. But, so you should be able to take them out, because you think about it, you hit with the flamethrowers. If you don't hit enough, you use lucky to re-roll it.
Yeah.
So, hopefully you do better. Mm-hmm. And then you attack with the knives, which is 2 attacks. Yeah. So, the only thing is if there's a hero in that unit.
Yeah.
Because the hero would be what would give the survivability, but you could possibly even take out the hero in that case.
And if you got lucky and hitting them with the flames, they are suppressed. So that's convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 points, right?
Yeah.
You put them in there as a support unit with your big 6-shooter and bolt on. They're coming up to take the bridge. Then he jumps up behind him, just as they're all terrified of what's coming at him. Chef pops up behind, starts flamethrower from behind it. You've already won that match. It's round 2.
And that's before you start airdropping in heavy commandos in the background.
In the meantime, the Luftwaffe keep blowing their airborne roll. So,
and you started the game by rolling 4 dice on your initiative roll, thanks to Bazooka Joe. So every time you roll, you go in your face,
Well, I don't know if we can fit all these people in here. Bazooka Joe's 9.
My head it fits.
Your head it fits. All right, done.
Well, yeah, it's a fun platoon.
Yes, this combination, would definitely leave your opponent just going, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yes,
I don't even know. I've got people in the back. I've got people. I've got this big walker that just walked across the board.
Yeah, it has a psychological effect, and you should never neglect the psychological impact of your list on your opponent. Definitely.
Oh man, it would be amazing. So, I think we beat this one to death. You're going to take 2 6-shooters in the command squad, but you're going to give the command squad a command truck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about that.
Yep.
So now into the USMC rifle platoon.
So I'm going to double up, actually. I'm going to do the USMC rifle platoon and the task force diver platoon at the same time.
All right.
Because they have the same effect, even though it doesn't apply to the same units. And it's going to be the moment of torture for any USMC player who wants to play one of these platoons to choose which one is going to play. And I have my personal preference, but it needs to be compared like back to back so that we can really show why. So the USMC rifle platoon is a platoon that needs Machete Mac or a command squad as a command unit, and then 4 units. These 4 units are going to be USMC units, obviously, and 3 of them are basically the same, and the 4th one has a little bit of change since you can take a Mickey or a barking dog. It is a platoon that is interesting to build because it builds up on what the USMC does right, which is the troop spam. This one does troop spam really, really well. The bonus that you're going to get once you get this platoon is that all the USMC units and the M3 medium combat walkers that are open-topped, so all the light chassis of the Mickey and everything else like that, are going to actually gain brave. So you're going to roll 3 dice when you try to remove under fire or suppression. So that makes the USMC really, really reliable on the battlefield because suddenly they are going to have way more chances to remove any suppression token that they might have gained. You can really be a thorn in the side of your opponent if, for example, they play the Frankenstein platoon, which relies heavily on suppressing your army. Suddenly your whole army has a mechanism to get rid of it. I'm going to put it back to back with the Task Force Diver, because the Task Force Diver does exactly the same. So you have to play the starter set, basically. So it's Diver, a Close Assault Squad, and a Bushmaster. And if you play that, all your USMC units and the light assault walkers, so it's the Wildfire, the Bushmaster, the Honey, are going to be also brave. And if they're already brave, like Diver is, they're going to gain actually an immunity to suppression. Okay, so really two platoons that do basically the same thing. The only difference is that you don't protect the same walkers. So it really depends on how you build your army. My preference will still go towards Diver, personally, because first, Diver being brave, he goes in a unit and gives brave to that unit, and then everyone in that unit will become immune to suppression. So that's really powerful. Second, because I like my small walker to, if they survive, because they rarely survive, but if they survive, I like them to be brave also to remove the suppression. And also because it grants more freedom in building my list than the other platoon that is really restrictive in the 4 choices I should say 5 choices that you have to make. So you can still play Machete Mac and all the other USMC squads under the Diver platoon. It's still really efficient. It's still completely disgusting to accumulate some stuff like, for example, the infantry ace of Diver on a unit, then Machete Mac being an officer on another unit and with scout. And then, for example, you're going to play a ton of War Dogs. So you play the Diver squad, the Diver platoon, and then you play 5 units of War Dogs. And that really, really is nasty. Because suddenly your War Dogs, for example, because they have one of these units is going to have Machete Mac in it. So they're going to be brave, and they're going to have an officer if needed. But you're going to put Diver in another unit, for example, and Diver is going to become scout with infantry ace. I mean, you can really do some nasty stuff and mix a lot of things like that. So it's really something that I enjoy. Machete Mac is Scout and Trailblazer. I forgot Trailblazer also. It's really convenient to have Trailblazer when you have dogs. That way, if your opponent tries to block you with something, you just go through it and you really attack the target that you wanted to attack with your dogs. So,
right. Machete Mac also has Officer. So,
yes, yeah. So, I mean, really, these platoons are. Olivier was talking to me lately and telling me that he was not really happy with what he did with the USMC platoons, because they are really similar in their effects, and he wanted to change a little bit of that. But game wise, they are really, really good platoons that are really easy to set up. When you play USMC, you know that you're going to play these units anyway. I mean, the Fire Squad, the Rifle Squad, the Demo Squad are squads that you're going to put anywhere in your list. So it really doesn't matter if you play one of each, because you were already planning to play them. The medium walkers we already talked about it, are really nice. Honestly, I wouldn't put them in this platoon. I'd rather play them in the medium combat walker platoon. That makes more sense for them. And if I really need to, as I said, I would play Diver anyway. And then you can spam some light walkers and have fun with that. I mean, there are very few things that will not get scared when you play 5 or 6 wildfires. So that is a lot of machine guns suddenly. So something that they need to think about with advanced reactive fire. So yeah, these are platoons that are really easy to set up. The USMC is really an army that has been created late in the previous incarnation of the game and has been thought of as Dust 1947. So it's really an army that is easy to build with the new rules. You cannot make mistakes in any way by playing any unit of USMC. They will always be efficient. They always have a solution against something. And because they are cheap, even if they are light armored, it's something that you can really spam really easily. It's really easy to get to 12 or 13 activation with a USMC list.
They are, though, those rifle squads, which I love. I love fielding the rifle squads, but they're costly. They are costly.
Oh, they are, but it's the move and fire that makes them costly, and the fact that they can shoot at planes.
Oh, no, definitely. And that's why I was saying, you know, I completely love them, but they are, I don't know, I think they're actually the most expensive USMC
yes, they are. 9 points.
Non-vehicle unit. You know, so, you know, they're 9 points.
Apart from the common squad that is 10, it's really the regular infantry, the most expensive of the game, because really they have this combination of bar rifle and common move and fire that is really stupid, really fast.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Caitlin, if she's still listening, won't think it's a beautiful thing because the last time I played her, I completely devastated her with all of those. But you know, I very much love them, but they do it hurts every time you take that and you take those 9 points. You're like, but it's worth it. It's 9 points.
No,
but it's worth it.
It is.
And then you just wonder why you don't spend all the money on dogs.
No, they are really worth it. They will be able to really damage some stuff, and really it's, how can I say that? It's not the main task that they have, but the fact that they can shoot at planes with sustained attacks after rolling 5 dice against an aircraft level 2, that's really fun. That can finish a plane that you had a hard time finishing, or that can start damaging a plane that is trying to dodge your regular anti-aircraft units. They can go up the battlefield in no time thanks to a march move and still shoot. And they have quite a bit of dice. So really, it's a very good unit. I mean, march move 5, range of 6, basically your range is 11. That makes anyone think about what they're going to do, because really, I've been actually playing. It was a few weeks ago. I was playing my Dodge trucks, and I was playing against a USMC, and this unit really caused a lot of problems to my army. So yeah, it was interesting, definitely. So yeah, Diver and Machete Mac, 2 platoons, 1 goal, 1 same usage, and really something that you think about. You're going to build the support behind them the same way. So really, it's 2 platoons, but it could be 1. It really doesn't really matter which one you're going to choose. It really is a matter of how many vehicles you can have in your platoon, and do you want to make them brave or not. That's really that boils down to that, definitely.
All right. Yes, I like it.
Of course,
thanks for making my life more complicated.
It's the USMC that you like. You know that you like their gameplay way more than the Rangers.
Wait, you mean I like to have stuff that can move fast because I take the rifle platoon, can move fast and can shoot.
Yeah.
And has a couple extra guys, which I said would be the one thing that would, like, you know, fix and make me happy with the...
Exactly.
Oh, you mean so if... No.
Yeah. The Rangers that you like are the USMC.
Except for they don't fly, so they can't be...
No, but they move so fast that it looks like they're flying.
Oh.
So the last platoon for the Allies is the USMC Heavy Assault Walker Platoon. This is Platoon Bonkers. This one is the platoon that, how can I say that, will not make sense, will enrage all the partisans of faction bonuses and stuff like that. But it's probably one of the most versatile platoon that you can have. It's a platoon with a lot of demands because you're going to have to play 2 heavy assault walkers. So between the Punisher, Fireball, and Devastator. So we're talking about the most expensive chassis in the game, actually, because the Devastator is going to be 31 points, the Punisher 26, and the Fireball also 26. And then you're going to have to play 2 combat units that are going to be either a fire squad, a rifle squad, or a demo squad for the USMC. The bonus in exchange of that is also bonkers because you're going to be able to, every time you activate a heavy assault walker, a USMC unit that is in range 2 or inside the walker is going to be able to activate right away. And it's a full activations, and it's right away. So your first action must be a move or march move action, but you can activate 2 units at once. And you can do that 2 times because you have 2 heavy walkers. Point-wise, it's so much points that you're basically not going to put much next to it. So it's really an all-in platoon. But strategic-wise, it's super versatile because you're going to be able to move your walkers around. And let's remember that, for example, the Fireball has Scout. So that means that it's really up the table really fast. The Devastator has this huge range with his phaser and an amount of dice that is indecent. And the Punisher is one of the best anti-tank guns that you can have in the game. Anti-tank guns being traditionally a little less popular than the other weapons because of their low rate of fire. But this one is compensating by having a dual anti-tank gun, which means it's going to roll 2 dice. And you only need 1 to destroy anything. So it's really convenient. Plus a stupid range of 18. I mean, really, you don't even need to, you just need to enter the table in the middle and you can shoot anywhere on the table. So it's, for example, a good strategy is to have the Fireball, put a unit in it, take advantage of Scout, and put, for example, Crazy Jimmy inside the Fireball. Because the Fireball march moves, Crazy Jimmy grants it cover. So on your first round, which is convenient, you don't even have to pop your smoke if you don't need them. You're already moving 3 because of the Scout movement. And with Crazy Jimmy, you're going to have Ace Pilot, meaning that you might even be able to shoot reliably after that. So it's really nice and lucky. So even if you're limited by your number of action, you're going to be able to reroll your attacks in the first round. So it's really a platoon. As I was telling you off the record, it's a platoon that I see played lately by really good players. One of them being one of my demo guys, Mark, where they actually play this platoon and they even emphasize on it by playing another heavy chassis next to it that is more an anti-aircraft or anti-infantry support chassis. But really a lot of heavy walkers like that, and they forfeit the faction bonus by playing all the pilots that are available to the allies. So it's going to be Crazy Jimmy, it's going to be Greg and Easy, or it's going to be Tom. And whatever the pilot that you choose, depending on which vehicle you choose to put it in, it's going to be efficient. Greg and Easy and the Devastator, for example, is just insanely good. You're going to roll a ton of dice against infantry, and you're going to be expert on these dice. Or you're going to choose to roll your 4 dice against vehicles, each one causing 4 damages, and be expert with those. So you're going to have 2 chances out of 3 to hit. So that means that your minimum amount of damage is going to be 8 all the time. So any vehicle that is not a heavy tank from the SSU is going to die right away.
So I'm looking at this, and we kind of talked about wording and phrasing and all that at the beginning of the episode, and because one of the things mentioned before in the pre-brief, I should say, because it says that a Marine unit that's not been activated and any heroes that are joined with it that are within range 2 are carried as passengers by the walker. The unit will activate immediately after.
Mm-hmm.
And its first action must be a move or march move.
Yep.
Which would indicate, at least, I feel still iffy on that, but following what you were saying, that would mean that the passengers would be able to disembark like it's an assault vehicle or an assault rule. Which is interesting. The part that I'm flipping around here is that the Marines say that, or it says that the U.S. Marine Corps values its heavy assault walkers and never sends them into battle without an escort.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that these vehicles do not typically have a card for the Marines, but in this case, wouldn't they not be considered a Marine vehicle?
No, still not. I know. It's a platoon that frustrates a lot of power gamers.
Well, no, I understand, but it's more my wording perspective, and being more open to, even though it says this or that.
No, it's not, because the Marines never have the latest equipment at their disposal, and they are borrowing some walkers. So basically, imagine more that it's a regular block vehicle that is escorted by USMCs, because they are the ones in charge of this theater of operation. More like that. So for your fluff needs. For the rules, the first paragraph doesn't matter anyway, because it's only fluff.
Right, but this is, so are you just saying for the platoon advantage?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the second paragraph that is really the one that gives you the rules, and the rules are really that you're going to have these units. So again, the units, for example, are going to be able to either move right away and destroy some stuff that would be a little bit too close to the vehicle, or could represent a danger. That also gives you an additional move when needed, because you disembark from the vehicle, so you just gained 2 or 3 squares really right away, right out of the bat, and then you disembark. Disembarking from a vehicle can be done on any adjacent square, so you can move forward like significantly with a unit, and, for example, charge what you need. Demo squad could, for example, decide to get out of the vehicle and go destroy another vehicle that is a little bit too close. So yeah, it really gives you a ton of options all the time.
So, definitely. And I mean, I imagine it a lot like you see in World War II movies, where the tanks moving up the road through the buildings in the city, and the infantry are hiding behind it shooting. That's exactly what the image it's supposed to convey is. Yes. Or they're in the case of the passengers, they're riding on it and jump off of it.
Yeah. So the Punisher and the Fireball have transport abilities. The Devastator has none. So it's something that you need to take into consideration. But yeah, moving a Fireball is already threatening enough by itself, but with passengers in it, that can really get rid of the little swarm of stuff that could destroy it. It's really, really convenient. So it's a good platoon. Again, it's all-in, because you have no extra points, or almost none, to do anything else next to it. So it's really a platoon that you're going to play, and your opponent will know what to expect. But it's also a platoon that has very little ways of being blocked by your opponent. If you want to move forward and disembark, there are very few things that's going to prevent you from doing it. Let's forget the possibility that you have also with most of these walkers, to drop your smoke when you need them, so that you protect the units that you just disembarked, or that you're about to disembark, I should say. Or the ability that you have also on the walkers to just put them in cover by dropping your making a special action and dropping your steam shovel on the front, your torso blade, and that will grant you cover all the time. So entering the Punisher on the table first round and just dropping the torso blade, for example, and as long as you don't move, you're still in cover. It's a good way to have your walker be protected like durably. And then every time you activate it, you can activate another unit of Marine that is in range too. So, or you're going to do that with a fireball. You're going to move forward. As I said, you go scout. You have an ace pilot in it that gives you an extra action. So next action, you're going to move, you're going to shoot, you're going to drop your smoke, you're going to drop your dozer blades. I mean, you can do a lot of things. So.
Oh yeah. And then you add in a rifle squad, which is following it with its move and fire. And,
yep.
And yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of nastiness rolling with that thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it's fun little platoon. Really, you have to be careful because again, vehicles are not indestructible. So when you're going to lose one, you're going to lose half of your army basically. And it's really something that you need to think about, but it is fun. And on the table, it has this impressive side of having huge vehicles, taking 4 squares. It's always fun to see on the table. So,
and I think, I'm trying to count points in my head really quick. I think even if you take 2 Punishers, because they're 30 points each, right?
The Punishers are 26.
Or the Devastator, I mean.
Yeah, 31.
31. So
you're at 62 plus 18 if you take 2 rifles.
80 points. So you have, you have 20 points to play with, so you can fit your plane in for that cover.
Yep.
And an observer squad.
Yes. Also the fake pass.
What's that?
The fake pass, the observer squad. I have some of my players that are actually taking an observer squad because it's cheap and they use it as a pass. They just deploy it first so that they don't put much points on the table. They don't really care. And then the opponent has to deploy another unit. So,
right. Totally understandable. That or, there may be enough points after the plane to get a USMC sniper squad in there.
There are 4 points, am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're at 80. The plane is going to be 17. You're going to be a little short.
No, you're going to be short.
You're going to be short. Even for the observers, I think.
I haven't looked at the new USMC observers. I was going off normal observers, I think, are 2 points.
The USMC observers are 2 points. So yeah, you can. You can put the Rangers also and keep the faction bonus. No, because you have USMC units.
It has to be USMC units.
No.
So you don't get any faction bonus, which is the other thing though, is that you may not be able to fit your plane in if you're trying to take those ace pilots.
No, if you take the pilots, you eat up your points. And honestly, that's what I would do. I would take Greg and Easy and Crazy Jimmy really without hesitation.
Yeah, those are definitely some good choices. Though Tom might not be a bad one either. Yeah,
Tom with the move and fire, it's definitely something that I would put in a fireball. Greg and Easy and a Devastator or a Punisher, depending on what you want to do. Crazy Jimmy also in a fireball. Yeah.
Crazy Jimmy, you do your command squad because then you get your your mechanic.
Yeah.
Walkers go for a while,
yeah.
Right? And then with Crazy Jimmy, you have your cover, and then you can still take an observer if you want to burn a activation.
Let's not forget, if you want to fix your vehicles with a mechanic, that you also have the mercenary options for that. And playing Justin & Co., it's 4 points. You have 4 mechanics, so you roll 4 dice, and for each faction logo, you repair 1 point of damage. It's a little less strong than a normal mechanic that rolls 5 dice, but it's also way cheaper because you only have 4 points to invest instead of 12 or 10 or 12 with the common squad.
Right. Or you could take Rosie
or Gilmore,
though Justine and Co is 4 points versus Rosie who's 5. So
yeah, and Gilmore is 4 also, and he's a mechanic.
Oh, Gilmore.
Yeah, it's from the Ranger Common Squad that was released as a limited edition so far, but it's going to be released soon also in plastic.
I feel like anyone with a wrench is a really good option for this.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Anyone that's carrying a wrench, you're coming with us.
Heavy walkers like that become a lot more scary to your opponent when you can start repairing.
Indeed, I didn't mention it also with the Armor 6 walkers, but yeah, thinking about mechanics is always a good reflex. Good job. Yeah, definitely.
Especially, I think, depending on people's lists, there's not always a lot of things that can damage a walker like that. So
no,
they may have to go. They only have so many shots that they can take usually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
it'd be a tough one to come against for sure.
Yep. Now some of their disadvantages are their speed and their bulk.
Yeah, it's the bulk really mainly. The speed can be compensated quite easily with these pilots that makes them really shine. But it's really the bulk. You're going to be stuck. I faced some tables where I didn't even have the room to move around. So I just deployed and I was stuck there. So it's again, it's also a tricky platoon because of that. You're going to have 2 chassis that cannot go everywhere you want. And it's something that you have to take into consideration. A bad table can render your fireball completely useless.
Yep, definitely.
26 points that are not doing anything. It's sad. It is sad.
All right, so I think we've covered all the platoons, and I am rushing to get to I think we've covered all of them. And any last remarks? Oh, I have one. I've been playing with the Dust Enlist app to try and see if my dream will come true. Yeah. And it appears that if you take the Allied Heavy Destroyer Platoon, the Heavy Commando Paratrooper Platoon, at its, not even at its base, you add in the command truck and chef, and you're at 98 points.
That's beautiful.
Which means that you can fit in Bazooka Joe, which brings you to 107 points.
That's my next list.
And that's not even trying to optimize, because there is the little glitch inside of the Dust Enlist app where the heroes won't just go into, if you put the heroes in before.
You have to put them at the end if you want to use your points and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So
you need to erase chef, put something that is
erase chef
and put back chef.
Which means that, you take, chef out, and all that. So, that leaves you with, a few extra points, because, even Bazooka Joe, he's 9 points. So, that's at 107. So it's possible you can fit in a, couple infantry units as well. So that gives you 1, 2, 5, 9 activations just right there.
That's beautiful.
I have tears in my eye. I think you could I think you can even take another command truck with the total point. Maybe not.
No, I think you'll be on, because they're gonna. But still, even then, I mean, that's pretty good, and you can still take. I'm gonna fine tune it, and we will talk about it next time we have a recording, because it really smells like it's gonna be my next list.
Yes, this list is like some of the best cheese in the world.
It's a wet dream. Yeah, it is nice.
All right. So, are there any other comments on the list that we've talked about, the platoons?
No, I think we're good on my side anyway. Maybe Nathan wants to add something.
No, like I said, when playing the heavy ones, wrenches are awesome. I play a lot of. I don't play very.
Your phone cut out at the or your audio cut out at the wrong time. Your wrenches came across as winches, and I was like, "Wow!" You called it, winch.
You know what? Every list needs some winches too. So in there. No, I play really. I don't play very vehicle heavy lists usually, and so I always when I play against guys that do play very vehicle heavy lists. You start seeing what works for them and how I always lose. And the ability to make those vehicles move quickly and the ability to keep those vehicles on the table longer is always what proves to be my demise. So when you start looking at these lists and pairing them with the allies have so many great heroes that all have very unique abilities.
Yes.
And just the pairing that you can use, swapping out a few points here or there for adding a different hero or it just changes it so dramatically. And that will really be what sets the pace. And like you guys were talking about with some other stuff, if you see that you kind of have a weakness in one area, there's so many ways in the allies that you can fill those weaknesses so fast and so efficiently.
It's exactly.
More creativity is involved.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to build your allies army with like Lego blocks. You're going to add blocks and blocks and blocks to make something that makes sense. And it's going to be a little bit blocks of every color, So, but it's an army that is really, I told you, it's my favorite. I told you at the very beginning of this podcast, because the possibilities that this army gives are just limitless. So.
It's your favorite because it has Frenchmen.
Okay.
Yeah, I play a lot of allies. I use the fact that my son was asking for Luftwaffe to finally break into Luftwaffe. So he's got a nice Luftwaffe force that we'll be sharing. He doesn't know that part yet. I did let him open everything, but I also was the one who, he didn't have any input on what got bought.
Parenting done right.
Exactly. Hey, yeah, here you go, buddy, but we're going to keep these over here. No, you can't use them. I mean, not right now. I'm gonna test them out for you and make sure they work right.
Child safety.
Exactly. There's little parts. I don't want you to choke on them. You didn't say that about these mercenaries. Doesn't matter. They don't have the same little parts.
Wait, what?
Yes. Wasn't 100% going that way, but as soon as I realized, I was like, I'm going to charge right into this one. Head first. The allies. I love the allies because they are very versatile. I hate the allies because I can't specialize them. Mm-hmm. Greg hates the allies, so he won't let them specialize. That's what I concluded.
I'm not in charge of creating the profile, so.
But you're not in charge, but you can influence, and you say Nick wants this, so fuck that. No.
I'm going to give you an anecdote so that you understand the extent of my influence on Olivier. I wanted the Florentine platoon to be able to reload the plane.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I remember that whole...
It has been a 6 months lobbying with Olivier, and in the end, he just sent me the FAQ and went like, "You're not gonna like it," and the problem was done. So yeah, that's the extent of my influence on creating the profiles.
No, I'm still gonna blame you. Doesn't matter.
It's okay. It's my duty.
It's okay. He's good for it.
I'm here for that.
Yeah. See. Even Alicia has okayed it. No. It's been blessed.
Yeah, it's okay. We're good.
I'm almost sad that we're at the end. Other than I do want to play Dust. Oh, I get to play Dust tomorrow. Nathan's coming over to play on the new table I built.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the pictures. They were really nice. That's a really nice table.
Where?
Look at Messenger.
It'll be excellent. He'll really enjoy losing on his brand new table.
Yes.
I mean, that would imply that you were actually going to win a game, and you've run a whole starter league and haven't won any.
Hold on. Nick, you're assuming that I'm the one that's going to beat you. No.
We all know Caitlin.
There we go. A husband who admits he has to bring his wife to win a fight.
As it should be.
Nice design.
Thank you. And pictures. I'll post them on Instagram or whatever later. Actually, it started out, and why only 2/3 of it are stained is. It started out when I was still in Florida. It was going to be a desk, and so I had started building it, and I was making it 6x3 because that was the dimensions I chose. And then I ended up moving here to Georgia, and half the parts were with me, half the parts were still in Florida. And I was just thinking, I needed I wanted a taller table, and and I was looking around, and I was like, wait, I have all these and I have that. And at first I got really excited because I thought I had made it 4x6, 2.5, 3 years later. And then when I was like, it's not quite, it's only 3 foot. I ended up, having to go buy some extra pieces and getting them.
Enough for a game of Dust.
It is. 6x3 would have been good for a game of Dust, but now it's good for a big game of Dust, or multiple games of Dust simultaneously.
And it's a Dusty style.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
it is. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Actually, people will probably see me playing games on it before this episode airs.
Nice.
Maybe not. Maybe. I've been considering if I just get all of the editing done this weekend, I will just put out all of the episodes one a day over the next week.
Oh, like that? Bubble?
I might, hey folks, catching up, here you go. Nathan will stop whining to try and hear the SSU episode that we will never record.
One comment, and then it's moved to last.
No, not move to last. Move to never.
Yeah, it's just after last.
I'll do it myself. I'll just be reading the book, and there will be no commentary.
All right. So, anyone else have any final closeout comments, thoughts?
Nope.
I'm good.
All right. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this part of the show, and we are at the end of the Allies. We will be back in the near future. We will move into the Axis and going through their lists, their platoons, and seeing what craziness we can come up with there. I'm sure we have a lot of craziness.
Oh yeah.
And now I have a double vested interest because I have the I have access to both the Blocs and the Luftwaffe.
Mm-hmm.
If I can pry them from my kids' fingers. So
You've got to sleep sometime.
I can tell them when to do that.
Go to bed, but it's only 3 in the afternoon.
I don't care. I did something wrong. I just haven't found it yet.
The magic word is go clean your room. Most of the time. With my kids, it takes all day, and at the end of the day, nothing is done. It's fantastic.
Yes, because they avoid you because they don't want you to check it.
Yes.
I remember that. I remember being that kid. Yep. All right.
It's going to be fun to talk about the Axis and the SSU in whatever order we do.
But we're not talking about any SSU because SSU are boring.
No. Their platoons are actually some of the funniest you can play. So it's going to be interesting. And we published a new platoon for Guaylo Molloy in our newsletter this week. So people will be able to find it on our Google Drive also later. But it's, we have some interesting options coming for the SSU. So it's going to be fun to talk about it also.
It will. It really will.
So when you're ready to kick it up a notch, Nick, you know what?
Kick what up a notch? The kicking of your butt? I mean...
Was that a glove slap?
I don't know what that was. I think he bumped his head and just saying random things. All right, folks. You have a good one. Stay dusty.